Okay, it's Saturday, May 10th, and this morning I attended the regular meeting of my local East Portland Indivisible chapter, and our leader, Marcia, said something really insightful in that meeting, and I want to share it with you. She expressed concern about the escalation of the illegal tactics of the Trump regime, in particular, what happened yesterday in Newark with their mayor being arrested by ICE. I would also add that Congresswoman Watson Coleman, who was there, said that ICE officials put their hands on her and shoved her while she was there engaging in her lawful oversight authority as a U.S. Congresswoman. But then at the meeting, Marcia pivoted to talking about the May Day protests around the U.S. In particular, she referenced the one the East Portland Indivisible put together with Cedar Mill Indivisible and a number of other organizations. She said, there were over 1,000 people at the Pioneer Courthouse Square event, but there were also May Day protests all over the city on May 1st and May 3rd. Right, well, I was at the May Day protests downtown. There were multiple teachers' union protests going on elsewhere in the city. For folks outside the U.S., May Day, May 1st, is a pivotal day when it comes to labor organizing in the U.S. May Day protests are all about worker solidarity and workers' rights. And the May 1st, 2025 protests were the biggest May Day protests in the history of the event since the 1880s. And in the Indivisible call this week, one of the folks said they were concerned that the May Day protests were not as big, not as many people turned out as April 5th hands off. And I've seen folks on my social media saying the same thing, like, well, every protest needs to be a lot bigger than the one before it. And should we be worried that May 1st was not as big as April 5th? Well, first of all, May 1st was a weekday. People took time off of work to come to that event. And April 5th was a Saturday. But also, we should not be thinking about our events in that way. Yes, we need to be drawing more people in. We are building momentum, but we cannot expect every single protest in the country. There are protests every single day that are not getting reported in the media. Every day there are protests around this country. We don't need every one to be bigger than the last for us to be effective. What is important is that more and more people, more diverse people, are participating, and that we are seeing the number of events build in frequency. But what is really important to understand about the May Day protests and why they are so significant is that they marked a change in who was working together. We are not just seeing one or two orgs cooperating. May Day was a huge, diverse group of people. We saw multiple grassroots groups like 5051 and Indivisible working together to plan, but we also saw cooperation with multiple union groups. Grassroots volunteers and union organizers now working together. FUN, F-U-N, which is the Federal Workers Union, and also the Northwest Oregon Labor Council. That is a big one, lots of different unions. We saw teachers' unions. We saw all of these labor groups coming together to coordinate with grassroots pro-democracy groups as well. And that's really, really key, because what we need to be building is a big tent with a big, broad-based coalition of folks from all over the place. If you are anxious because you saw fewer people turn out on a Thursday during the workday than turned out on April 5th, a Saturday, I want you to understand that that event was about building solidarity and community. It was about making sure that we are creating that network of diverse organizations. We have to create relationships with each other. And it's more than that. Marcia was saying, having an event that was planned by so many different groups, we are all learning how to communicate with each other. We are all learning the language. We are all building that rapport with each other. We're understanding what our shared expectations are, and we are understanding that we can trust each other. And that is super, super crucial. The relationships, the bonds, the coordination we are building now, we are going to need to lean into that really heavily coming up. And I think that's something that Congresswoman Jayapal talked about a fair amount too. And I have said as well, when people are saying we need a general strike and we need it yesterday, well, we have not laid all of the groundwork yet. That's what we're doing right now. That's what May Day was about. That is what June 14th is going to be about. We are laying that groundwork. We are building those connections so that the resistance is cohesive, so that we are all holding the line together, so that we can operate very smoothly and swiftly. And this is where I want to connect it back to what happened in Newark yesterday. What happened in Newark is absolutely scary. It's absolutely illegal, unacceptable, and it is an intimidation tactic. And we have to be ready to respond. We have to understand now that this regime, they're scared, and so they are lashing out. They are trying to crack down because they see how strong the resistance is, how much we are mobilizing, how we are working together, and they're scared. Trump is feeling desperate enough that what he tried in Newark, he might try in your city next. And Marcia was saying, we have to be poised, we have to be organized, and we have to be ready to spring into action. And so we have to build those connections now so that we can all quickly communicate with each other. And when the call goes out, hey, the mayor of our town has been arrested by ICE, that within an hour we can have 1,000 people at ICE or in front of the courthouse protesting, that we can have somebody who immediately alerts the media that, hey, the people are not going to stand for this and we are out in the streets. We need to be able to act swiftly. When we pull that lever, people need to show up. So please understand, May Day and other events like that, where we are forming connections with other people, we are developing those relationships. That is so that when shit like this happens, when ICE or whatever parts of this repressive regime step in and try to harm our communities, we are poised to respond very quickly. When ICE comes for your congresswoman, how quickly can you mobilize your community to get there and defend her? When ICE rolls up in your neighborhood like they did in Worcester, Massachusetts, does your street have a plan? Does your neighborhood association have a plan? Does your local indivisible have a plan for a rapid response? Have you all gotten your de-escalation training? Have you all gotten your legal observers lined up? Do you have medics lined up? Do you have people in your group who are ready to document when ICE rolls up? Have you done the trainings? Are you prepared? Can you get your people to jump into action? The resistance is far more than protest events, and protest events are about far more than just what is happening on that day. In permaculture, we do what's called stacking functions, where we look for any element in our system, anything that we are engaged in, to have as many functions as possible, to serve as many roles as possible. How can we get added value out of everything that we do? How can we work more efficiently and get more yields out of everything? And if you have not, up until this point, viewed your regular community meetings, your protest events, your town halls, your mutual aid events as a chance to stack functions and to think about, how can I build other connections? How can I get my community ready? How can I help us level up to the next phase of our resistance? Then I really want to encourage you to start thinking that way. And if you're somebody who until now has kind of poo-pooed protest events, have been like, well, these aren't really stopping fascism, please understand that they are laying the groundwork. They are building the connections. They are helping us prep for what we are going to have to be doing very soon, because this regime is escalating because they are scared of us. They are intimidated by us. So they are trying to intimidate us back. So we have to be organized and strategic, and we have to be ready to act. We have to have laid all of that groundwork so that we can anticipate what they're going to do and we can respond very quickly. So in your town, what organizations are starting to partner and build those connections and build those text chains? What people are you having trained as legal observers? What people in your group are committed to being part of the safety team? What people in your group are setting up bail funds? How are you working to use each event as a chance to build trust and connection, to expand the network of the resistance? We've got to be strategic now, and we've got to act swiftly. How do we stack functions? How do we maximize our preparation? How do we protect our elected officials, our leaders? How do we protect the most vulnerable in every community across America? How do we serve as a bridge between vulnerable people, what is happening right outside our door, and all of these people who are poised and ready to come to the aid of folks who need it, right? How can we be that bridge that says, okay, guys, this is happening here. I'm going to message my whole chain of people, and we are all going to spring into action. We need to be thinking that way. We must be savvy. We must be organized. We must be strategic. We must be reaching out and increasing our coalition, increasing it in size and in efficiency. Every time this regime tries to crack down, every shitty thing they pull on us, that's a chance for us to hone our skills and to forge those connections and to test out our plans so that we work up to the big events that are going to make all of the difference. When they try and pull shit on us, we use that as a learning opportunity. We use that as a chance to hone our skills. Please think about how every event creates multiple ways that we can strengthen our resistance, that we can prepare for what's to come. I want y'all to understand all of the ways that May Day was a huge success. And then we need to keep that momentum rolling. We need to keep building those bonds. We need to keep cementing those bonds, strategizing together, planning together, because it is going to take all of us. We need to keep up that work of uniting in solidarity with other people.